Having a business plan is so important. I'm so grateful that Monty Home was my CEO coming up in the business. And I don't ever remember a meeting or a talk that he ever gave that he didn't talk about that being the most important thing. And I remember when I finally had a business plan that I was reading every morning and every night, and I saw Monty Home in the lobby of this hotel while he was speaking at an event, and I ran up to Monty and said, "Oh my gosh, Monty, I'm reading my plan every morning and every night." And he looked at me and said, "Doesn't it make all the difference in the world?" I said, "It did." And all of a sudden, the business became easier, and things were attracted. The right people were attracted to my business, and the right clients, and things just started to take off. And I started to see myself winning here. And so the elements of a business plan, first you want to have, your whys. That's the most important thing. And I remember coming in, being a young 22-year-old, and I didn't have kids yet. I didn't have these big whys. And Ed Milet would be on stage saying, "You need to have a why. It can't just be about the money." And I thought, gosh, I hate when he says that. I don't have a why. But I look back now, and when I had to write 10 whys, in my business plan, my leader challenged me to write my 10 non-monetary reasons why I want to win at the highest levels. It was number 7 or 8 on the list. That actually was my biggest why. It was my siblings, it was my younger sisters, wanting to be an example to them, that it doesn't matter where we came from, it doesn't matter what we went through, it doesn't matter all those challenges and all those things that happened to us, they happen for us. They happen for us, and it doesn't matter where you came from, it only matters where you want to go. And so I wanted to be an inspiration, an example to them, and I wanted to also be able to help my family back home. And when I figured that out, and I used that as my emotional motivator, my emotional plan, business plan, as Rich Solly would say, to drive me, I went from making less than $100,000 to making $500,000 as a CEO 18 months later. 18 months later. That's the power of having a plan. And so a lot of you might have a business plan, and you might have your whys written down. Some of you guys have some goals. You have to have short and long-term goals in there. All those short and long-term goals, it could be, how many points you're going to do in your team this month, or how many prospects you're going to try to do each day. How many phone calls are you going to make each day. These goals are in there. Also, when am I going to be full-time? When am I going to, have my first office? Where? When am I going to be a CEO? So you're going to have all these goals in there. The most important part of that is dates. Have exact amount of dollars, exact amount of recruits, and then an exact date. Your brain is kind of like a big computer, and if you say, "I want to be rich," it doesn't know how to work on that. It can't go to work. But if you say, "I want to make $250,000 by December 31st, 2019, now your brain will start to figure out the how to do these things, to make those whys come true. So having your whys very clear, and it shouldn't just be retire mom. My whys in my business plan, each one of them, of those 10, were at least a page long. And, I remember Sean's number 10 why was a dream house, and it was a page and a half long, and it had, every room in the house and on the balcony, what the air felt like. So the most important part about those whys is that you can visualize it so that you can emotionalize it. And if you can clearly see it with some emotion, then your brain will then even go to work on it faster. So you have your whys. You've written details. If it's retire mom, I want you to be able to close your eyes, push play on a movie in your mind, and you can see yourself the day that you retire your mom and what she says, and what's her reaction, and what's the weather like that day, and so that you can just, even if I'm having a bad day, sometimes I'll play that movie in my head of what I'm trying to do for my family to keep myself going. And so you have your whys with emotion, with as many of the senses, sight, smell, touch, that you can incorporate into that. Then you have your goals and deadlines with exact dates, exact dollar amounts. And then you also kind of want to put in there, I always say, put in your strengths. Why are you going to win in this business? Maybe it's because you're a great mom or a great, dad. Maybe it's because you're honest. Maybe it's because you're a hard worker. Maybe because you don't give up on things. Maybe it's because you're coachable. I don't know, but you're identifying your strengths. Affirmations are another major part of your business plan. Your affirmations should be spoken in the present tense, like, "I am the next great superstar of WFG. I am the hardest working person in my office. I am a great leader and a motivator," whatever. So instead of, or "I am, a $250,000 earner, on December 31st, 2019. So it's already in the present tense, not "I want to be" or "I will be." And all these affirmations should support the goals and stuff that you have written in your plan. And then you're also going to identify what you're willing to give up. Napoleon Hill is a great book. He says, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because there's no such thing as something for nothing. And so I had to identify, what was I going to do? I stopped watching TV. I stopped listening to the radio in the car. If my off time was filling my head with things that were going to attract my goals to come into my life, that was going to change my mindset to someone that could attract wealth in their life. I grew up in poverty, and I needed to be able to change my mindset to something that believes that they can have this abundant life. And so I constantly worked on myself, but I identified those things that I was willing to give up. TV, all those hobbies, time, even time with the people I cared about sometimes, with my family, because temporarily I had to put more into growing me, and then, of course, growing my team. And so that's really the main elements of a business plan. There's no perfect business plan. I'm sure John Shin has a different business plan style than me, definitely different than John Pham or Penny Oy, and Jeff Levitan's, his is amazing, his business plan, but we're all different. It has to be what works for you. If your plan's not working, that doesn't mean the system doesn't work, doesn't mean the company doesn't work, it just means your plan's not right? Just redo your plan. I redo my plan constantly. It's not like, in January I do my business plan. I do it all the time. I do it pretty much every month. And it re-engages me, it re-inspires me, and it refocuses me. And that's what your business plan should do. It should get you up in the morning, excited, ready to conquer your dreams. And if it's not doing that, then redo it. Redo it until it works for you. And there's, again, no secret formula of how it should be done. Monty likes it to be written in his own handwriting. I like it to be typed with affirmations. And then the major thing is you could have it written down, but you got to read it every morning and every night. And that's just the hardest thing in the world because it's discipline. And we're human beings. And to pick up that paper at the end of the night, and spend that 2 minutes reading your business plan can be so difficult. And it makes all the difference in the world.